One day I came home from work. My little daughter was playing in her room. Because her mother and I argued a lot, we eventually decided to separate, and the court ruled that she would stay with me. Everything seemed normal, just like any other day. After resting for a while, I played with my daughter. She had her mother's eyes. While she was telling me about her toys, I got lost staring into them. I still loved her mother, but she constantly caused serious tension at home. I read my daughter a bedtime story and put her to sleep, then went to the living room to watch some TV. While watching, I must have fallen asleep. I woke up to my daughter's scream. When I entered her room, she was sitting on her bed, staring at me with terrified eyes. "Daddy," she said, "there's a monster under my bed." I replied, "Sweetheart, monsters aren't real. Go back to sleep." But she insisted that I look under the bed. When I did, I froze instantly, because the one under the bed was my daughter. In a trembling voice, she said, "Daddy, there's something on my bed that looks like me." It felt as if I was paralyzed. I could only stare at the daughter under the bed. When I finally lifted my head and looked up, there was no one there. I wanted to believe my mind was playing tricks on me, but my daughter had seen it too. I somehow managed to calm her down and put her to sleep, then returned to the living room. I started thinking about everything that had happened that night. As I was lost in my thoughts, the door to our bedroom slowly opened by itself. The lights were off, but from inside the darkness, a pair of red eyes appeared. After that, I fainted. I woke up in the hospital the next morning. My body was covered in marks, as if I had been violently attacked. My daughter was in the same condition. She had woken up before me and screamed, waking the neighbors, which is how we were taken to the hospital. The neighbors were curious and wanted an explanation, but I had none. Neither my daughter nor I being in that condition made any sense. I never drink alcohol, and I would never hurt my child. So how did those marks appear? The police told me they found no evidence of a third person at the scene. After that day, nothing like this ever happened again. But that night still haunts my mind and never will leave it.
One day I came home from school and found the house empty. My parents had gone out of town and the place they went was far away. It was impossible for them to return quickly. I sat at my computer and started playing a game. About 2 hours passed. Suddenly, I heard my mother's voice coming from outside the window. I looked out and saw her. She looked exactly like my mother, except her eyes were bloodshot. She was standing in front of the exit door waiting for me. I didn't go outside. I ignored it and went back to my game. Then I heard a noise. Someone was forcing the door. I held the door as tightly as I could, but suddenly the banging stopped. At that moment, I heard my mother's voice behind me.
"Why won't you open the door, son?"
I was absolutely sure that was not my mother. She started walking toward me. I collapsed into a corner, praying to God to save me. When I lifted my head and looked again, she was gone, but I could hear noises coming from the living room. I went there, the TV was on, and 5 pairs of red eyes were staring straight at me. All of them suddenly jumped at me. At that moment, I watched myself from another room, as if through a camera. Then I woke up. It was a horrible nightmare. When I checked the date, I realized it was 2 days before the date I had seen in my dream. That evening at dinner, my family told me they would be leaving town for a while, and that I would have to stay home alone.